What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Bluebird Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So Anthony Joshua says that Dillian Whyte is ungrateful and they make it about percentage. What is percentage? But back in the days, there wasn't no such thing as a percentage. It was just about fighting for the titles. Now all these fighters want percentages. Don't be greedy. Take the opportunity to fight for a title. And this is why I continuously to revert back to the $50 million and Deontay Wilder situations, and this is the reason why they do not allow Bluebird Sports TV a one-on-one with Anthony Joshua. Because they know he's going to contradict himself, they know he's going to dig himself in a hole, and they know I'm going to expose it. This is why Eddie Hearn on the podium got up there and tried to overtalk me and intervene when I asked Anthony Joshua a question. This is why, okay? This is why when people say, oh, they continuously revert back to Deontay Wilder, why are we talking about this? Why? Because they continue to contradict themselves. Anthony Joshua continues to contradict himself. And you got people co-signing the contradiction. That's why. That's why. And until you get somebody like myself or somebody that's going to ask them the real questions with follow-up questions and ask them, okay, so if that is the case, why is you're saying he's saying that he offered Dillian Whyte more than he's ever earned? Anthony Joshua is not the longest reigning champion in the heavyweight division, and you're not the undisputed champion. You're not the only champion in the division. You bought a title from Charles Martin. So why I asked Eddie Hearn, if you bought a title from Charles Martin for the Charles Martin fight, you overpaid Charles Martin, why are you not willing to overpay Deontay Wilder for his belt? If titles are so important. That's number one, okay? Number two, he says all this percentage talks and S like that has never been heard before in boxing. This is what Joshua said, right? Remember, right, as humble as it comes across, he is the challenger. All this I know my worth and S. Don't let greed get in the way of what you want and what you want to do for this. It's about fighting for these heavyweight championship belts. Let's stay right there for a second. It's about fighting for these heavyweight championship belts. You're not the undisputed heavyweight champion, so there's still a belt out there floating, and a guy offered you $50 million. You admitted that the $50 million was there. You said that you was flattered by the $50 million offer. Is what you said, but you couldn't accept it. So, but then you turned around and you told me there was never a $50 million offer. Which one is it? Either you was flattered by the offer or you was never offered a $50 million deal. And that is for a heavyweight title fight. That's not, Deontay Wilder's not a challenger, brother. So that's for a heavyweight title fight. So what do you mean as a challenger? If you're a challenger, you need to be humble. Well, you're the challenger. Because you bought all the belts. You're the challenger because you bought all the belts. And Deontay Wilder is still the WBC longest reigning heavyweight champion, longest reigning champion in the sport of boxing, bar none, period. Only rival is Gary Russell. And you're not him. Okay, so that's number one, right? Then he goes on to say, but as a challenger, I've given you double and more what you have ever seen fight for titles in front of the biggest audience. Okay, well, Deontay Wilder was giving you something that you wasn't willing to take, and he's a champion, and essentially, in the real reality, you're the challenger. Because Deontay Wilder was the champion before you, and you bought the titles that you have. Well, one of them, the Charles Martin fight, so you overpaid Charles Martin because, quote unquote, you said that, it's about the title. So you overpaid Charles Martin for the title. Why not overpay Deontay Wilder if that's the case? Because he don't perceive the same threat as Charles Martin? So you rather pay the lesser threat in Charles Martin than you pay the bigger threat in Deontay Wilder. That's why, right? Okay, we understand that. So essentially, you're the challenger because Deontay Wilder was a champion and never lost his belts before you. So that would make you the challenger. But then you're going to resort back to percentages and numbers, right? As the same thing that you're using to defend yourself against Dillian Whyte, Deontay Wilder could use against you. This is what I'm saying. This is why they don't allow me to interview him. This is why Eddie Hearn intervenes every single time I go to interview him. This is why. Okay, let me tell you why. Right? Because guess what? I'm going to tell him, well, then essentially, you're saying the same thing Deontay Wilder could say, right? Because he was the champion before you. And essentially, you bought a title from Charles Martin. Okay? So how could Dillian Whyte be ungrateful? You're talking about percentages and offering something that he's never had. Giving him when it comes to Dillian Whyte, you're talking about he should just be, and granted, I understand that you already beat Dillian Whyte. So essentially you're saying Dillian Whyte should just be grateful that you're giving him a shot at the title. Because it's about titles, it's not about money, right? So if that's the case, you should be grateful that you're getting a shot at undisputed against Deontay Wilder and give him what he wants, because it's not about money. It's about you securing your legacy and capturing the heavyweight titles, right? But nobody's going to bring that up. And this is why Eddie Hearn intervenes when I talk. So then he goes on to say, they had a chance to fight for the world title and he didn't want to do it. So what more can I do? You had a chance to become undisputed for another world title, the most lucrative, sought out title. That's the WBC. I don't care which belt came first. What's the longest reigning belt in the sport of boxing? All of that. The WBC is the most perceived title in the sport of boxing, and these boxers admit it themselves. Now, I know the likes of my brother Blood Boxing, if you go to Blood Boxing, my brother Blood will break down which title came first, which one was switched at certain times and things of that nature, right? Which was actually the first title, the first title in the sport of boxing. The WBC wasn't that. I understand that. But what I'm saying is today's time, and you can check out my brother Retro Boxing and documentaries, Blood, and you see the breakdown of that. But what I'm saying is, that sought out title today's time is the WBC. That green strap is the strap everybody wants, and they feel solidified when they get that green strap around their waist in every weight class. And that's the strap Deontay Wilder holds in the longest reigning champion. And then people will resort back to saying, well, he got it from Bermane-Stiverne. Well, Anthony Joshua became undisputed from beating Charles Martin. And Bermane-Stiverne is better than Charles Martin. No disrespect to Charles Martin. Then he goes on to say, what do you want me to do? Not take home a penny? That's basically what it is. Let's blacklist Joshua. Okay, so let's ask this question. It's being documented that you only took home $1 million when you fought Charles Martin, and you gave him almost $9 million. You wasn't worried about it then because Charles Martin wasn't a perceived threat like Dillian Whyte or Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury, right? So we know what it is, man. You understand? This is why I say his mouth is a human shovel, and every time you open it, the hole gets deeper and deeper. And this is why Eddie Hearn cuts me off and say, oh, the question you asked is not smart. Yeah? Because there ain't no follow-up questions being allowed, Eddie. And I know you watch this. I know you watch it. You admitted to it. So here's this guy sitting here, and this is what makes it come across as if we don't like, or I don't like Anthony Joshua, because I like Anthony Joshua. But when you do stuff like this and you say stuff like this, it needs to be follow-up questions. And there is no follow-up questions because everybody's sitting in awe. And instead of asking them follow-up questions and say, okay, well, why didn't you do this or why didn't you do that, right? And challenging what he's saying, they don't want to do that. They just want him to keep looking like the golden boy. And see, with me, I dislike Anthony Joshua. I like Anthony Joshua. And again, I'm going to say this. I think he's one of the best heavyweights in the world. I'll continue to say that. That's why we want to see the best fight the best. Point blank and period. He's one of the best. Deontay Wilder is one of the best. Tyson Fury is one of the best. Dillian Whyte is one of the best. Luis Ortiz is one of the best. Luis Ortiz is not even in the conversation. And everybody's just happy about that. Just having a grand old time that Luis Ortiz is not even in the conversation. Why nobody, I didn't get a chance to ask him about Ortiz. Why did nobody ask him about Luis Ortiz? When he did an interview with Akin Barak, and he sat down and he said that he mentioned Ortiz and they had a whole conversation. Why at the press conference nobody mentioned Ortiz as a challenger? Why was he not an option? Nobody asked that. And see, so they comfortable with that. But if I ask that, I'm asking a question that's stupid. And so he says that Dillian Whyte should be happy for the fact they give him a shot at the title. Well, shouldn't you have been happy that you was getting a shot at becoming undisputed? But you wasn't happy with that. You asked for 50 million, then you turned it down. Then you tell me at the press conference 50 million didn't exist. But then you did an interview with IFL TV and Coogan Cassius, and you said you was flattered that they offered you 50 million. So did it not exist, or did it? Barry Hearn came out and said that the 50 million, we glad we didn't take the 50 million. So which one is it? Right? You understand what I'm saying? So then you say that Dillian Whyte should be happy at a title. Okay, so you should have been happy. Then you said that you couldn't sell your soul for $50 million. You had to fight over in the UK on your UK soil in front of the fans that you built yourself in front of. So you understand? So you put a lot of hurdles and roadblocks in the situation when it came to Deontay Wilder, who is essentially the longest reigning champion in the sport of boxing, but you didn't want to give him a chance. And you wasn't satisfied and happy. And like you tell Dillian Whyte should just be grateful that you give him a chance. Shouldn't you have been grateful that you was getting a shot to become undisputed? Even after asking for $50 million and you turned it down, and Deontay Wilder said, okay, I'll still come over there. You still put other hurdles in there instead of being grateful for getting a shot at undisputed on your soil? We know what it is, man. But that's all I got for y'all. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to New Media. Shouts out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share these videos. Anthony Joshua says Dillian Whyte should have just been grateful that he was offering him over $5 million and a shot at the title. That's all I got for y'all, man. Peace.